At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work. As a human being, what do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for? The things I was brought into this world to do? Or is this what I was created for? To huddle under the blankets and stay warm? But it's nicer here. So you were born to feel nice, instead of doing things and experiencing them? Do you see the plants, the birds, the ants, and spiders and bees going about their individual tasks, putting the world in order as best as they can, and you're not willing to do your job as a human being? Why aren't you running to do what your nature demands? But we have to sleep sometime. Agreed. But nature set a limit on that, as it did on eating and drinking. And you're over the limit. You've had more than enough of that, but not of working. There you are, still below your quota. You don't love yourself enough, or do you love your nature too, and what it demands of you? People who love what they do wear themselves down doing it. They even forget to wash or eat. Do you have less respect for your own nature than the engraver does for engraving? The dancer for the dance? When they're really possessed by what they do, they'd rather stop eating and sleeping than give up practicing their arts. Is helping others less valuable to you? Not worth your effort?
I know you won't believe me, but the highest form of human excellence is to question oneself and others.
All live to create and die, says Hayden. Imagine facing life's storms with unwavering calm, resilience in the face of adversity, and an unshakable sense of inner peace. This is the timeless allure of Stoicism, a philosophy that has guided emperors and inspired thinkers for centuries. But what exactly is the secret behind its enduring appeal, and how can it empower you to navigate the turbulent seas of existence? The term Stoicism can be associated with multiple interpretations, often resulting in divergent definitions. When one concludes an online search for Stoicism, it's not uncommon to encounter more than one distinct definition. For instance, the endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings and without complaint, or an ancient Greek school of philosophy founded at Athens by Zeno of Citium. If you're still finding Stoicism a bit elusive at this stage, don't worry, I too had my share of confusion when I first delved into it. Surprisingly, there's a chance you've been applying Stoic principles in your life without even realizing it. For instance, think about those moments when you got frustrated with a video game but decided to take a break to regain your composure, reminding yourself that some things are beyond your control. Or perhaps you've consciously practiced gratitude, appreciating the opportunities and blessings that have come your way recently. These are all instances of people unknowingly incorporating Stoicism into their daily lives. And the more you explore Stoicism, the more intriguing it becomes. Delving into Stoicism, you'll find practices like journaling and meditation are all Stoic exercises. Even cognitive behavioral therapy shares significant similarities with Stoicism, particularly in their approaches to understanding and managing thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. The crucial distinction is that CBT is employed for specific therapeutic purposes, whereas Stoicism extends beyond therapy to become a comprehensive way of life. Explaining Stoicism can be a bit challenging because it's a broad subject with a multitude of practices and influential philosophers. Because to fully understand and engage with ideas, we need to understand where they came from. Socrates. Where did Stoicism come from? Stoicism originated in ancient Greece around the 3rd century BCE. and later flourished in ancient Rome, where it was founded by Zeno of Citium, a Greek philosopher who began teaching his philosophical ideas on the Stoa Poikol, a painted porch in Athens, which is where the name Stoicism is derived from. Stoicism drew inspiration from various earlier philosophical schools, including Cynicism and Socratic philosophy. It also incorporated elements of earlier Greek thought, such as Herculitus, concept of change, and the ethical ideas of Socrates and Plato. The philosophy of Stoicism was further developed and expanded upon by subsequent philosophers, including Cleanthes, Chrysippus, Seneca the Younger, and Epictetus, among others. Over time, Stoicism evolved into a comprehensive philosophical system with a strong emphasis on ethics, virtue, rationality, and personal resilience in the face of life's challenges. It remains an influential philosophical tradition that continues to inspire individuals seeking wisdom and guidance in navigating the complexities of life. So, who were the best Stoics? As you may know, I have mentioned Socrates a lot in this video. However, he is for some reason not considered a Stoic, but rather in a sense the godfather of Stoicism, if that makes sense. Socrates was a moral philosopher. He was not interested in mathematics or science, but was concerned on the quality of his soul and that of others. Socrates' philosophy puts emphasis on self-examination, moral integrity, and the pursuit of wisdom, which laid the groundwork for ethical discussions within Stoicism. Although Socrates was not considered a Stoic, he did, however, have a notable disciple, Diogenes. Diogenes of Sinope was a famous Greek philosopher and one of the most well-known figures of the Cynic school of philosophy. However, Diogenes is notable for something else. If you hold the view that public officials are primarily motivated by personal gain and lack competence, congratulations, you possess a cynical perspective on politics. Diogenes is often remembered for his extreme simplicity and rejection of material wealth. He lived in Athens but eschewed conventional housing, preferring to reside in a large ceramic jar or barrel known as Diogenes or Cynic barrel. He possessed few personal possessions and considered himself free from the trappings of luxury, which is basically just modern-day minimalism, I guess? Whatever. Diogenes engaged in behaviors intended to challenge societal norms and conventions. He famously wandered the streets of Athens during the daytime with a lantern, claiming to be looking for an honest man, but never finding one. This act was symbolic, highlighting his belief that genuine virtue was rare. While Diogenes was not a Stoic, his philosophy, particularly his emphasis on living in accordance with nature and his rejection of materialism, had an influence on later Stoic thinkers, such as Epictetus. Epictetus was a Greek Stoic philosopher who lived during the 1st and 2nd centuries of CE. Epictetus is best known for his teachings on Stoicism. However, Epictetus did not write down his own teachings. His student, Arrian, recorded them in a series of 8 books known as the Discourses, or Enchiridion, which are some of the primary sources on Stoic philosophy. In these writings, Epictetus emphasized the importance of distinguishing what is within our control, our thoughts, feelings, and actions, and what is beyond our control, external events, and circumstances. He argued we should focus our efforts on what we can control and accept with equanimity the things we cannot. One of his famous quotes encapsulates this Stoic philosophy. Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not. Epictetus, despite not leaving behind a vast body of written work himself, had a profound and enduring influence on the development of Stoic philosophy, and influenced many other prominent Stoic philosophers. Among these followers, one figure stands out as perhaps the most influential Stoic philosopher, and one of the 5 good Roman emperors, Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor from 161 to 180 CE, is renowned for his work Meditations. In this collection of personal writings, he documented his reflections on Stoic philosophy and the principles he gleaned from the teachings of Epictetus and other Stoic philosophers. These meditations are often regarded as one of the most significant and enduring contributions to Stoicism. Marcus Aurelius, despite his stature as an accomplished leader, faced a life riddled with adversity. His path was marred by the constant companionship of chronic physical pain, and his rule as emperor proved to be a relentless battlefield of opposition and crises. Challenges such as the Parthian War, the Marcomannic Wars, and the devastating Antonine Plague tested the very few foundations of the Roman Empire during his reign. What set Marcus Aurelius apart and earned him admiration was not the absence of these hardships, but his unwavering commitment to his duty and the relentless pursuit of the empire's well-being. His approach to overcoming these seemingly insurmountable challenges was marked by a disciplined and reflective practice, meditation. Each day, Marcus Aurelius engaged in a profound form of meditation, a deep contemplation of the worst of humanity, in the most daunting of circumstances that lay ahead. He confronted these dark specters head-on, not with fear or despair, but with a resolute and steadfast mindset. In his own words, he encapsulated this indomitable spirit, saying, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own, not of the same blood and birth, but the same mind, and possessing a share of the divine. And so none of them can hurt me. No one can implicate me in ugliness, nor can I feel angry at my relative or hate him. We were born to work together like feet, hands, and eyes, like the two rows of teeth, upper and lower. To obstruct each other is unnatural. To feel anger at someone, to turn your back on him, these are unnatural." In the twilight of his rule, Marcus Aurelius faced an astonishing betrayal. His trusted friend and loyal general, Avidius Cassius, in a shocking act of ambition and treachery, declared himself Caesar and seized the throne in Syria, believing Marcus to be vulnerable, if not deceased. Such a colossal betrayal would naturally enrage and unsettle anyone. But what Marcus did, especially considering the circumstances, was truly remarkable. He chose to do nothing, refraining from rash actions that might incite panic among his people in the face of disarray in the empire. Marcus remained calm, suppressing his anger and hatred, and instead opting for a rational course of action. He publicly announced his intention to march against Cassius, not with the intent to kill him, but to capture him. Marcus displayed an astonishing level of self-control and foresight, even expressing the hope that Cassius would not succumb to shame and take his own life before Marcus's arrival. This demonstrated Marcus's profound commitment to maintaining stability within the empire. Plato had long posited that philosophers should be emperors, and Marcus's actions lent credence to this idea. He managed not to only quell his personal emotions, but also reassure his people in doing so, fulfilling the responsibilities of his leadership to secure the Roman Empire. A famous Stoic concept, memento mori, underscores the fragility of life and the importance of living in the present moment. It might appear morbid, but it serves as a poignant reminder to appreciate each day and to cultivate virtue, character, and the readiness for the eventuality of our departure from this world. Marcus Aurelius practiced memento mori through his nightly meditations, fostering gratitude for every day he was granted. Perhaps the most poignant aspect of Stoicism lies in this concept. As Marcus stated, "Live a good life. If there are gods and they are just, then they will not care how devout you have been, but will welcome you based on your virtues you have lived by. If there are gods, but unjust, then you should not want to worship them. If there are no gods, then you will be gone, but will have lived a noble life that will live on in the memories of your loved ones." This Stoic perspective echoes Nietzsche's wisdom. He who has a why can bear almost any how. If you have a purpose, you can live through any pain and suffering. For the Stoic, that purpose is virtue, and it transforms pain and suffering into opportunities for the display and practice of virtue. This is what makes Stoicism a timeless and powerful philosophy. Virtue serves as the North Star, guiding individuals in their pursuit of moral excellence and inner strength. This unwavering commitment to virtue enables Stoics to confront and reframe pain, suffering, and life's challenges in a remarkably profound way. Memento mori, to not let it frighten you, but to remind you to live life with virtue. Memento mori, by practicing Stoicism, there is no pain and suffering in this world that you can't endure. Memento mori, nothing can be taken from you, for a Stoic only values virtue. Memento mori, any suffering and pain will be an opportunity for you to display and practice your virtue. Memento mori, by living life to the fullest, you are also ready to let go at any moment. To not meet death with fear or anger, but rather welcoming, because some things you just can't control. Memento mori, remember death.
So how do you want to be remembered?
I've tasted the maggots in the mind of the universe. I was not offended, for I knew I had to rise above it all, or drown in that shit. Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you while you live. While it is in your power, be good. As a child, I had little awareness of philosophical concepts like Stoicism. My world revolved around toys and adventurous explorations in the forest. I had an innate way of approaching life that was distinct, yet I struggled to articulate it until I reached the age of 15. It was then that I stumbled upon the explanation for my unique outlook on life: Stoicism. Stoicism has profoundly influenced me for as long as I can remember. I was genuinely surprised by my patience and forgiveness towards others, even when I often found myself hurt or betrayed. I couldn't fathom why I consistently chose not to seek revenge and instead remain kind-hearted and gentle. My primary concern was always to be a virtuous person within the scope of my abilities. More so, I've had childlike creativity, and this childlike creativity has been a driving force throughout my life. I possessed an enduring inner energy that allowed me to stay youthful and express my true emotions. Whenever I encountered challenges, my coping mechanisms differed significantly from those of my peers. Unbeknownst to me, I was instinctively practicing Stoicism, focusing on enduring hardship, holding myself accountable, and directing my attention towards the things I could control. My thirst for knowledge was insatiable. I had an unquenchable desire to learn about everything within my reach, a passion that still burns brightly today. I think one of the coolest things about Tetris is that you can't win, you just delay the loss. Tetris is out to challenge you. The more you play, the tougher it gets. You'll get into situations where it seems like there's no way out. Suffering is unavoidable, but complaining isn't. Complaining about losing in Tetris does nothing but anger you beyond exhaustion. Tetris is like life. You play, it becomes difficult, until you overcome adversity, and then you eventually lose, resulting in death. But, is it really a loss? I remember long ago I was going through a rough breakup. I had little to no emotional control and reacted irrationally in anguish, losing respect of the person and myself. I had no purpose, fixated it on what I could have done to save the relationship, caring so much about the person instead of myself. I was disrespecting myself and giving up virtue and honor, all for one singular human being. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and months turned into about a year. I find myself in a new relationship, happy as ever. I thought I matured and had found someone who I could spend the rest of my life with, only to then be cheated on. Some say love is blind. Sure, it can be. Those who never feel confident enough to express how they truly feel will never be able to experience a true, healthy relationship. That was what I wanted to experience. I was never afraid to be my authentic self, because the truth is, expressing how you truly feel will never ruin a true connection. The feeling of being cheated on is indescribable. It is a beautiful thing. Wait, what are you talking about? Listen, you have your perspective all wrong. Suffering and adversity is beautiful. It helps build virtue and character, just as Marcus had suffered when challenged by Cassius for the empire. Anyone would be upset and disappointed if their partner cheated on them. However, I did nothing. In response to betrayal, one must not be surprised because they understand the vicissitudes of life and know that betrayals are a part of life. Second, they respond with grace, to not react out of fear or anger, but rather understanding and empathetic, because some things you just can't control. You must seek to understand one's suffering, as you may possess similar qualities. In the best way that I could, I calmly accepted what I was being told. Marcus says, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. For anyone that is suffering at this time, I empathize with you, as I have endured suffering for almost my entire life. I know what it feels like to be alone, to have nobody, to feel like the odds are against you. I've been there. That is why Stoicism has tremendously helped improve my overall mental health and knowledge when it comes to self-mastery. You may feel sad or distressed. If so, that is completely okay. It is okay to cry. It is okay to weep. But it is never okay to allow yourself to wallow in suffering. It is never okay to give up and wave the white flag. To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. Suffering is a human truth, a certainty guaranteed to us since the day of our birth. The greatest feat is to transform that suffering into endurance by attributing an ideal to the suffering, a reason for its existence. Perhaps you'll never reach this ideal, but that doesn't matter because it distracts you from the nature around you. In a small bubble, there's nothing wrong with that deceit. As I turn 19, I reflect on last year. Nothing has changed, just the number of how long I have been alive on this planet. I continue to roam the earth in search of meaning and purpose, but what really matters to me is family and friends. While I live, I must be good.